Welcome to Movie Night with Storm Pinball. Last week I reviewed The King of Staten Island, and tonight we'll talk about another comedy, Eurovision, the Story of Fire Saga. In case you didn't see my earlier review, I'll quickly go over my reviewing format. My reviews are divided into two sections. The ticket booth is completely spoiler-free, giving broad information on the general quality of the film, what the audience might be, and any information that might guide expectations to help maximize enjoyment of the film. The second section is the after-theater drinks, with full disclosure about the movie, 100% spoilers, to give a complete review of what I thought about the movie and why. I want to make this short and sweet so I can post it the day after it was released, so let's head to the ticket booth and decide if Eurovision, the Story of Fire Saga, is how you want to spend your movie night. Co-written by and starring Will Ferrell, this is a delightful comedy about the Eurovision Song Contest, a phenomenon mostly unknown in the United States, but a huge deal throughout most of the rest of the world. Each country in Europe, and some outside of it, nominate bands to compete in a global music contest which culminates in a giant arena and seen all over the world. It's kind of like a World Cup meets American Idol.
42 countries, hundreds of performers, and a worldwide audience of 180 million. This is Eurovision.
Imagine if the US had a similar tournament, where each state sent a musical act into the tournament. It would be huge, right? I'm not sure why we don't have that, but that's the general idea. This is a comedy which should have a wide appeal, and I wholeheartedly recommend it. I don't want it to get lost by the fact that Americans aren't that familiar with the subject matter, or by the fact that Will Ferrell can be hit or miss. This is a definite hit. If you enjoyed Glee or the Pitch Perfect series, this is something you should definitely check out, but it should have a broad mainstream appeal as well. The current review numbers for this movie aren't as high as they should be. IMDb has it at 6.7 out of 10, Metacritic at only 45%, and Rotten Tomatoes at 59%. However, 93% of Google users liked it. So, this may be a case where Ferrell's Sherlock Holmes may still be on some reviewers' palates, or the comedy might not be as extreme or obvious for some people's tastes. There is more finesse and subtlety to a majority of the humor here, which is something I appreciated, although there is still some physical comedy and sight gags as well. This is a feel-good movie, which doesn't get boring despite its subtlety. It's intelligent, winning, and well-acted, and a perfect escape from the current environment. It couldn't have come at a better time. If you want something darker, go with The King of Staten Island. Lighter? Then try this. I enjoyed them both, so I hope you check it out on Netflix for your next movie night. Enjoy the show, and then watch the second half of my review, coming right up in the After Theater Drinks. Welcome back to the After Theater Drinks. Salud. I hope you enjoyed that movie as much as I did. I thought there were a lot of great performances by the lead actors. Ferrell, McAdams, and Brosnan were completely believable as residents of a small town in Iceland, both with their speech and their mannerisms. Ferrell's Lars Erik song is similar to his character in Elf, although not as manic, but still an eternal optimist and a dreamer. I don't know if that was deliberate, but it definitely made him likable and sympathetic. Sigrid, played by McAdams, is similarly enjoyable to watch throughout. Both characters have a nice balance between being whimsical and wise, which made them more realistic at times, despite how crazy the events are which took place around them. The third main character at the concert, Alexander Lemtov, is similarly multidimensional. He isn't the villain I initially thought that they might make him out to be. Instead, he's a lot of fun to watch. Lemtov is played with enthusiasm and flair by Dan Stevens, and has the most serious moment in the movie when he declares that there are no gay Russians when asked about his orientation. This is in reference to the persecution and murder of those accused of being involved in same-sex couples, especially in the Russian Republic of Chechnya, where anti-gay purges were performed by the government police in 2017 and 2018. It was a subtle reference to a serious problem, and I admire the fact that it was alluded to, even in an otherwise light and fluffy comedy. Both Stevens and Pierce Brosnan are excellent complements to McAdams and Farrell and keep the film energized. Some critics complain that this movie was too long, but I appreciated that this film takes its time because one of its greatest strengths is the humor that comes from the character studies. There's intelligence in the humor and storytelling here. The gags are not shot out of a machine gun like they are in other successful comedies like Airplane and Talladega Nights. Instead, they require a brain and an attention span, so it's a different type of humor. There are still enough musical numbers to keep things exciting. I love the song-along scene at the mansion party and the ferocity of the zeal of the one character in the town that his favorite song, Ya Ya Ding Dong, be played indefinitely. It definitely helps to have traveled to Europe or to have met people from there to appreciate some of the humor. Through my pinball tournaments, I've had the pleasure of making friends throughout the globe. Working in a restaurant in New York City, I've served tourists from everywhere. Last year, when my girlfriend and I visited Prague, we asked the concierge to recommend a restaurant with music so we could enjoy the true local flavor of the region. He directed us to the next Planet Hollywood. That's the reputation that Americans have created in Europe, and unfortunately, in most cases, it's totally justified. But if you can't appreciate that, the entire interaction between Lars and the Americans won't be as funny to you. But for me, it was one of the best parts. The over-the-top performances throughout the Eurovision contest were a highlight for me as well. The singing and dancing both parodied those types of performances, but at the same time they showed so much talent and skill that they were a lot of fun. I think whether or not you enjoy this movie is based on whether you're up for a feel-good movie or not. The story is well constructed, and all of the actors are excellent, including everyone in the large ensemble cast. I found it so winning and well-intentioned that I don't get why the reviews numbers were so low. I'm happy to raise the average. I give Eurovision The Story of Fire Saga a 95 out of 100, and I know I'll be happy to rewatch it. Already, I've been checking out the soundtrack, which is available on iTunes. I had a great time with it, and I hope others have as much fun as I did. Representing hard work and talent, this is Sean the Storm Grant, #StormPinball signing out. Thank you for joining me on another movie night, and I look forward to hearing what you thought.